What if I told you that every billionaire you've ever heard of practices a mental technique so simple that most people dismiss it as wishful thinking, yet so powerful that it literally rewires your brain to attract wealth? While you're struggling with affirmations that feel fake and vision boards that collect dust, the ultra-wealthy are using visualization in ways that would shock you. They're not just imagining success, they're engineering it at a neurological level, and today I'm going to show you exactly how they do it. Here's the thing that separates billionaire visualization from the fluffy self-help version you've probably tried. Billionaires don't visualize what they want, they visualize who they need to become. And there's a dark psychological reason why this works that goes back thousands of years to the most cunning strategists in history. Let me paint you a picture. It's 1962, and a young Ray Kroc is sitting in his small office, staring at a map of America. McDonald's has only a handful of locations, but Kroc isn't visualizing hamburgers or profits. He's visualizing himself as the man who controls the most valuable real estate empire in the world, not a restaurant owner, a real estate mogul who happens to sell food. That mental shift, that identity transformation he practiced daily, led to McDonald's becoming the largest real estate company disguised as a fast food chain. Kroc didn't just see success. He became it in his mind first. This is what I call the Machiavellian Mind Palace, and it's based on a principle that the ancient Romans understood perfectly. Your external reality is nothing more than a reflection of your internal kingdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that the universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it. But here's where it gets interesting. Modern neuroscience has proven that your brain literally cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize with enough detail and emotion, you're actually creating neural pathways identical to those formed by real experience. The billionaires know this, and they exploit it ruthlessly. But they don't stop at pretty pictures in their heads. They use what psychologists call implementation intention. They visualize the obstacles, the failures, the moments when everything goes wrong, and then they rehearse their response. Jeff Bezos famously visualized Amazon failing 1,000 different ways before it ever succeeded once. He didn't just see the empire, he saw every dragon he'd have to slay to build it. Now, let me share something that's going to make you uncomfortable. The reason your visualization hasn't worked isn't because the technique is flawed. It's because you're visualizing from the wrong identity. You're trying to manifest a millionaire lifestyle while maintaining a broke person's identity. It's like trying to speak French while thinking in English. The translation gets lost. Here's where ancient Stoic wisdom meets cutting-edge psychology. Epictetus taught that we become what we repeatedly think about. But the dark side of this truth is that your subconscious mind is constantly working to prove your self-concept right. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, your brain will find ingenious ways to sabotage any wealth that comes your way. It's not personal, it's neurological. Your mind is literally protecting you from becoming someone you don't believe you can be. The billionaire's secret is that they don't visualize having wealth. They visualize being wealthy. There's a massive difference. Having implies temporary possession. Being implies permanent identity. When Elon Musk visualizes, he's not seeing himself buying a Tesla. He's seeing himself as the type of person who revolutionizes entire industries as naturally as breathing. The visualization isn't about the outcome. It's about the identity that makes the outcome inevitable. But here's where it gets Machiavellian. The most successful people don't just visualize their own transformation. They visualize how they'll influence and shape others. They see themselves as the center of networks, the person others come to for opportunities, the one who controls resources and information. This isn't ego, it's strategy. Power flows toward those who can envision themselves wielding it responsibly. Let me tell you about a technique I call the Emperor's Theater. This comes from studying how ancient rulers maintained power not through force, but through the sheer force of their presence and certainty. Every morning they would spend time mentally rehearsing their role as leader, seeing themselves making decisions with wisdom and authority, visualizing their subjects responding with respect and loyalty. They weren't born kings. They became kings by thinking like kings first. You can use this same principle. Instead of visualizing what you want to buy or own, visualize the conversations you'll have as a wealthy person. See yourself speaking with confidence about investments, opportunities, and ventures. Imagine how you'll carry yourself, how you'll make decisions, how you'll solve problems that would paralyze your current self. Feel the weight of responsibility that comes with real wealth, not just the fantasy of spending it. Here's something most people get completely wrong about manifestation. They think the universe responds to desire. Wrong. The universe responds to certainty. Billionaires don't hope for success. They expect it with the same certainty they expect gravity to work. This isn't arrogance. It's a carefully cultivated mental state that psychologists call expectancy theory. When your expectation is strong enough, your brain automatically starts noticing opportunities and resources that align with that expectation. Now, let's talk about the dark psychology element that nobody wants to discuss. Successful visualization requires you to kill your old self. You have to be willing to let go of the stories, excuses, and limitations that have defined you. This is why most people fail at manifestation. They want the results, but they're not willing to sacrifice the identity that keeps them safe and small. It's psychological suicide, and it requires the courage of a warrior and the wisdom of a philosopher. The ancient Greeks had a term for this: catharsis, a purification through destruction. Before you can build a new reality, you have to be willing to tear down the old one. This means being honest about the parts of your current identity that are incompatible with wealth. Are you someone who believes rich people are evil? Are you attached to being the victim in your own story? These psychological anchors will drag down any visualization practice. Here's your practical application, the method that turns wishful thinking into psychological warfare. Every morning, spend 15 minutes in what I call the identity laboratory. Close your eyes and step fully into the version of yourself who already has everything you want. Don't see this person, become this person. Feel how they breathe, how they think, how they solve problems. What does money mean to them? How do they view opportunities? What kind of people do they surround themselves with? Then, and this is crucial, spend 5 minutes visualizing the obstacles and setbacks. See yourself facing rejection, failure, and criticism with the same calm confidence. Watch yourself using these challenges as fuel rather than letting them destroy you. This is what psychologists call defensive pessimism. And it's one of the most powerful tools for actual achievement because it prepares your mind for reality while maintaining your vision. But here's the ultimate secret, the one that separates the players from the played. Billionaires don't just visualize personal success, they visualize how their success serves something larger than themselves. They see themselves as instruments of change, as people who create value, solve problems, and improve lives on a massive scale. This isn't altruism, it's strategy. When you align your personal ambition with universal principles, you tap into forces beyond your individual willpower. The universe doesn't care about your bank account, but it responds powerfully to value creation. When you visualize yourself becoming wealthy through serving others, through solving real problems, through creating something meaningful, you're not just manifesting money, you're manifesting purpose. And purpose is the most attractive force in the universe. Remember this, visualization isn't about tricking the universe into giving you what you want. It's about becoming the type of person who naturally attracts what you want. It's about upgrading your operating system from scarcity to abundance, from victim to victor, from dreamer to builder. The billionaires understand that wealth isn't something you get, it's something you become. And becoming starts in the theater of your mind, where you're both the director and the star of the greatest performance of your life. The question isn't whether visualization works. The question is whether you're brave enough to kill your old self and become who you need to be. Because once you truly see yourself as inevitable, the universe has no choice but to agree.